was a gun. The thing is that it's not. The 45 in the song is actually a metaphor for the world and everything that it is going to hand you, and ultimately everything that it will take away from you. When I was 15 years old, I had a very dear friend of mine. He's still my friend to this day. And he had a cousin, also a very, very dear friend of his. And the thing is that his cousin was one of these guys where you could be put into a situation of the most, like a really, really bad situation. Everybody's in a bad mood, this and that and the other. And he would come into the room, and he had such a sense of humor, and he was so comedic that you forgot what you were upset about, because basically you were bowled over laughing so hard. He was just one of those guys. He always made you smile. And but he had a really, really low self-esteem. And he didn't really know why everybody liked him. And the other thing about it was, he didn't really, really believe that anyone really loved him. And one day, on Christmas Day actually, my friend was going over to his cousin's house, and they only lived 2 houses down from one another. They were having a big dinner, it was Christmas and everything. So he goes into the house, and most of the time, his bro was, in the living room, hanging out, watching TV, playing video games, something like that. But he wasn't in there, and he was like trying to find him, and he figured he was in his room, which he was. But the door was locked. He knocked on the door. He's like, "Yo, hey, let's go. Everybody's waiting on you." And then there was silence, and he called for him again, and a few more seconds went by, and the voice through the door said, "I can't do it. I don't have it in me." Confused would be an understatement. And then a few more seconds went by, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, bang! And then time stood completely still. And a few more minutes went by. And then all of a sudden he could hear on the other side of the door there was a rustling, and there was movement. And things that had been stacked up and put in a certain place were being taken down. And furniture sounded like it was being pushed, being raked across a hardwood floor. And then all of a sudden my friend could see the doorknob, and it was shaking. And my friend, who at this point has fallen to the ground, stands back up. And the door opens. And there was his cousin. And he looked him square in the eyes. So desperate. And he said, "You see, I couldn't even do this. I couldn't even finish this. Help me understand who I am and what I am supposed to do, because I am completely lost." My friend took both of his hands and placed them on his, and he looked at him. And he said, "You have not even begun to scratch the surface of how important you and your life not only is to us and our family, but how important you are to this world." And then he said something that will ring in my brain for the rest of my life. He told him this. He said, "The will to live will always outweigh the ability to die." And just so you know, today that young man has an absolutely gorgeous family and is extremely